our episode where our podcast name finally makes sense. This is the episode that you've all been waiting for. The one where we get to say hello warrior, and so many of you might in fact already be or are well on your way to becoming a Waterloo warrior.
And some of you may have already received an offer from the University of Waterloo. And so on behalf of all of us, we want to share a very huge congratulations to you all.
Getting into Waterloo, or any university for that matter, is no small feat. I'm sure there were tons of sleepless nights, lots of nights studying, and a lot of focus. So we are very proud of you for any acceptances you may have gotten.
And some of you may still be waiting to hear back from Waterloo. That's totally normal. You can expect to hear back from us until mid-May.
If you have an offer and you aren't sure whether you're going to accept it, this episode is going to help you make that decision.
If you've already accepted your offer or considering of accepting your offer, then this episode will be for you.
And a reminder that the deadline to accept your offer is June 2nd.
Either way, we have an amazing episode for you with 3 alumni who get to share their experiences at Waterloo and why they're glad to be Waterloo Warriors.
Let's jump into it.
And welcome to the very last and final episode of this season at the Hello Warrior podcast. We are so excited to have some very special guests on our podcast today. Current graduate student, we have alum as well from Waterloo joining in person, as well as a special guest joining virtually. And so really this is your final thing of like why you want to accept your offer at Waterloo. And so really we're just here to know a little bit more about your background, why you chose Waterloo, talk about your experiences, and now what it's like really being a product of Waterloo, being a Waterloo alum. So we want to start with a quick intro in person, and then we'll tune into Anna virtually as well. So Tyler, do you want to start us off?
Sure. How's it going, everyone? It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on the podcast. My name's Tyler. I was a science and aviation student here at the University of Waterloo. I did a minor in earth science while I was here, class of 2023. And now I am an airline pilot. So I'm a first officer flying the Boeing 737 at Sunwing Airlines. And this semester, I'm instructing part-time at Seneca Polytechnic as well in the first year aviation student class. But that's a bit about me, just flying planes.
What a resume. What a resume.
Yeah.
We got to tune into that Sunwing jingle right there.
Exactly, yeah. Nice.
Drew?
So I've been in and out of the university for quite a while now. I started out in nanotechnology engineering. I graduated that in 2011. I was part of the second cohort of that program. Just dodged the complete upheaval of the program in the first year as they tried to figure out which classes should go in which terms. After that, I did a master's of chemical engineering and then worked in industry a while. I worked in Montreal doing reconstitution of waste sawdust into biopolymers, and then came back here, worked with a company out of the Velocity Incubator doing transdermal drug delivery. And now I'm working on my own startup to develop a new material for firefighter gear to replace something there that's carcinogenic.
Oh, wow.
And I'm also doing a PhD of chemical engineering as focused on that research. And I'm doing the part-time Masters of Business Entrepreneurship and Technology out of the Conrad School.
So part-time masters and a PhD candidate. There we go.
That is a busy schedule.
That's so cool. Definitely I gotta learn a little bit more about everything that you've done. So we'll get into the podcast on that. But Anna, do you want to do an intro?
Yeah, that's crazy to follow. That set a really high bar. So hi everyone, thank you for having me back on. My name is Anna. I use she, her pronouns. I graduated from the health science program at Waterloo, the one that has co-op, and then I also pursued a minor in gerontology and a minor in legal studies, and then graduated with a preclinical specialization. I was part of the class of 2024. Wow, that seems so long ago. The class of 2024, and then I currently work at Canadian Blood Services, which is a non-for-profit organization in Canada, as a community development manager.
Awesome. Thanks, Anna, for joining virtually.
Okay, and just to get into it a little bit, we wanted to talk about why you guys chose Waterloo. So can you share your journey to choosing Waterloo and what stood out to you about the university before you made that final decision? And maybe we'll start with Anna, because she went last time.
Yeah, so I think I have a really unique story in that I've been a Waterloo fan since 8th grade. So it was never a question of whether or not I would go to Waterloo. It's just a matter of, okay, I just need to get to grade 12 and then finish these things up and then I'm going to be there. So I fell in love with Waterloo mainly because of the co-op program. So I really valued that like hands-on experience. And then I think like for me, like it's important like getting to like academics and like textbooks. But really working in the field was something that I really valued and enjoyed. So that was something that really drew me to the school. And then another fun portion of it was I really wanted to move away from home. So Waterloo was like the perfect distance for me where like my parents could come visit if they wanted to. But I would still have like my independence and be able to like grow and learn as an individual outside of like the comfort of my home.
Oh, that's awesome. We have very similar reasons for choosing Waterloo. But yeah, what about you guys?
Well, for me, I kind of had the opposite motivation. I wanted to stay closer to home. And Waterloo, I wasn't close enough to stay at home while I was going to Waterloo, but it was still close enough I could go home on weekends. But yeah, when I was in high school, a friend of mine's parents had gone to U Waterloo and they had strongly recommended it. And I knew it was like one of the premier institutions in Canada for engineering, which I knew I wanted to get into. So between that and the co-op and also the intellectual property policy at UW, where you get to keep ownership of the things you create here, those were all the factors that encouraged me to come here. So
Yeah. Drew, do you want to talk a little bit about Velocity and how they've helped you with your startups and like with all the IP and the stuff that you've been able to produce as part of?
yeah, sure. So like I mentioned in the intro, I was in the university from 2006 is when I started, and Velocity hadn't quite started yet then. It was only in 2008 that they started, and they were still only doing software at the time. So I didn't quite get into entrepreneurship right away. It was more as I got into grad school that I started looking at entrepreneurship as a possible career path. And yeah, the way I got into it was start going to Velocity events. Like they had on-campus seminars, they had workshops teaching you how to think in like a business mindset, which for someone who was like totally into engineering was completely new territory. I didn't have any business experience at all. So it really helped like lay the foundation and the groundwork to get into that aspect of my career.
Yeah, and you keep 100% of the rights to all the products you make and all the IP and profits too, correct?
Yeah, and that's a big thing.
For sure, 100%. Tyler?
Nice. Yeah, I always loved airplanes and aviation growing up, so that was a big thing that I was considering. However, in high school, I was also considering if I wanted to be an engineer as well. So I think that was a big debate that I had growing up in high school, and maybe a lot of our listeners can relate to see, I like this, but I also like this, what I choose. But I loved Waterloo's connection to every industry. And so I knew that Waterloo had exceptional, not only academics on the world stage in Canada, but also its presence connecting students to the industry was something that was very valuable to me. And so in the end, when I saw that, I wanted to follow my heart, I wanted to fly planes, I wanted to be in the sky and follow my childhood dreams. What was the right place to do to follow for that? I really wanted a university degree as well. So when I found out that Waterloo had a program that allowed me to graduate not only with a Bachelor of Science, but also with all the flight training, all the pilot licenses I needed to be a successful airline pilot, I was like, wow, this is the full package. So I decided to, pursue it, follow my interests, my passions, but also get those hard skills, the licenses that I need. And I have no regrets. I'm here. I'm doing what I love. So it's been the best decision that I made.
And that's awesome too, because we have our Waterloo Wellington Flight Center, which is pretty close to campus, not too far, I'd say. And you get that flight training, you get that experience right from the get-go. And like your PPL, the private pilot's license, isn't that done in like first year or by the end of first year or something? And then from there you're flying, you're doing different assessments, and you're getting like the hours in that you need. So that's huge.
Exactly.
And the connection to industry that you talked about, and I think for everybody too, even Anna and Drew, the connections that you've had that Waterloo is able to supply you has given you the opportunity to network, to make those connections, and then to go out after you graduated or even still as a student and get those additional experiences is absolutely huge. And I think big reason why everybody would choose Waterloo for sure. What was the moment though at Waterloo that you were like, this academic environment is like helping me grow? What is that? What was that time in your undergrad career that you were like, yeah, I'm developing and growing as a not like a person professionally, but also like personally as well?
For me, I had this moment when I was in my first year geography class, one of my requirements for aviation. I had always felt a little bit. I was the one person who liked airplanes growing up. Like, oh, Tyler loves planes. Yeah, like, he loves that. So I was always kind of one guy. But coming here and being introduced to my classmates who we come to class, I open up their laptops and they have their desktop wallpaper is an airplane, or they open their phone wallpaper is like the sky or clouds. And then instantly I felt like, wow, this is what it feels like to be with people who are passionate about the same things that you are. Yeah. And we all want to go to the same place in our careers. And so that was when I really felt like, wow, I think this really was the right choice that I made. Yeah. And it was the right feeling, because the next 4 years, it really pays to be surrounded by people who love what they're learning, who are passionate about where they're headed. And so that was a very tangible moment for me. I wasn't even in the airplane yet. I hadn't even tried flight training, which a few weeks later I did an introductory flight. So if you're in Waterloo area and you want to try flying a little plane for an hour, you can hop by the Waterloo Wellington Flight Center for a little intro flight. And that was another wow. So this is what it feels like to fly, to be in control of a plane. But that moment, even in the classroom, I was like, this is what it means to be surrounded by people who love what they do, who are interested in what they're learning. So that was right in September, first year.
Awesome. So like right in September, you were like,
right,
wow, I picked the right place.
Yeah, at the back of the room, we had our Tim Hortons, and wait, hold on. So it was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome. And Drew, what was your kind of Waterloo is the right choice moment?
I think for a long time I wasn't quite sure. Well, mainly I wasn't quite sure about the program I'd chosen, because like I was looking at a few different ones, nanotech or mechatronics. They were both kind of the hot thing at the time. But I think the event that really solidified it for me was getting to do the capstone design project in fourth year. For those that don't know, in engineering in their last year, you get to do like an independent research as part of a group, independent from your classwork. And it was like the first time in my whole career that I'd really done something I was interested in for my own sake, rather than like being told to do it as part of an assignment. And it was just like really rewarding to make that progress on this research that I decided that I wanted to look into on my own, and have something tangible like in my hands that I created, and my group members obviously, that I could show like, yeah, this is something that we've done, and maybe we could build up like a company or something to take advantage of it. And I think that was the point where it was like, yeah, I wouldn't have gotten this opportunity to do something like this at another university.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's huge, and especially when you do get to that last year and you're able to do the capstone, it's like everything you've now learned, you're just putting it all together, getting that hands-on learning and work experiences. So that's awesome. Anna, what about you?
Well, I had a few different moments. So like in my first year, I was a little nervous as well, like stepping in, wondering, like being a little hesitant, like, is this the right school? Like, did I just fangirl over a school and get here and then realize that maybe it's not the right place for me? But then it was really like my health professors who, it was like they were just so passionate about what it was that they were teaching, and they were asking questions that weren't just like common knowledge-based questions, if that made sense. They were asking like challenging world questions, seeing how what we were learning applied to like health systems, not just in Canada, but across the world. And seeing their sort of passion for their field, like that really contributed to sort of my feeling. It's similar to something that Kylie was talking about, where like, wow, it's like, I'm not the only person that's like interested in this. Everyone that's sitting around me is also interested. We're all working towards the same goal, kind of thing. And then again in my fourth year, my last year, I had a legal studies course, and the prof that was teaching that course, she was a former lawyer. So that course itself was focused on family law. But she was just so enthusiastic about what it was that she was teaching, and she was pulling in real world examples, and she was talking about like bringing the class to an actual court hearing, and sitting through that and seeing like how lawyers on both sides kind of defend their clients. Like that was really cool. So getting that real world experience as well. And then just in like I think my day to day, like with my friends, these were friends who, based off of what we were learning in classes, they were constantly finding ways in terms of like, well, how can we like bring this to the next step? Like that innovation like portion. Like maybe this is something that like, wow, like maybe this is a gap that we should address. Maybe we could like launch a platform to help address this. But being able to bounce ideas off of each other, that was really cool as well. So it's all of those like I don't think there was like one defining moment for me, but it's all of these like little bits and pieces of my Waterloo journey that kind of formulate this bigger picture of like, wow, like I not only are these people like giving me an education that I'm like taking away, but I'm also contributing to the picture at large as well. Yeah.
I love that. I feel like sometimes you have that kind of big defining moment, and then sometimes it's also just like looking back, being like, wow, like this stuff all together kind of you can reflect on a little bit. But yeah, that's I really like that you shared it that way. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about like how Waterloo has a academic environment, which is, part of the reason why some of us were drawn to Waterloo. But how did you guys feel Waterloo's academic environment helped you grow while you were here?
I guess I'll go first. I think one amazing thing in our area is the student atmosphere in collaboration with the instructional excellence that is at Waterloo. We all know about the standing that Waterloo has in Canada for its programming and stuff, but I think a lot of it is difficult to go through if the student atmosphere is not encouraged, or there is a lot of pressure to be a certain person. But for me, I found that Waterloo's classroom and learning experience was very organic and encouraged to explore what your passions are. And I find at least in my experience, the student to student experience as well. There's a lot of encouragement and mutual benefit to what we're learning. There wasn't as much competition against one another that I was afraid of coming into university, that we might be ranked against each other, or we'd be trying to compete against each other to get on top. I found that the student academic environment was very collaborative, very supportive, and we were all there to help each other out, even when things were challenging, which, at a university level here, some things are really hard, they're very challenging, but that's what comes with learning about real world hard things. So I found having that peer support with the teaching assistants, with the professors, tackling these hard issues together without the fear of, am I falling behind or getting ahead, was, I think, a very organic, healthy way to learn about the things that we were tackling.
Yeah, I think a lot of students think that at Waterloo is just ultra competitive, and students are always there to one up each other in a way. But I totally think like our environment is so different than that. It's almost like a home away from home in a way. Like students that are in the same program or faculty as you are very like-minded. They want to, like you said, go into the same areas or places as you in terms of the workforce or the career, and you're all working with each other to help achieve those goals for everybody. So that's huge. Drew.
Yeah, well, I've been here for a while, so
Just a little bit.
not in one whole stretch to my own credit, but yeah, I can see how the academic environment's changed quite a lot over the time that I've been here, because at the beginning it was a bit more competitive, and there's been a lot of focus on like mental health initiatives and supporting students to succeed rather than demanding they succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the university's made a lot of progress in that regard. And it's always been a weakness for post-secondary education as a whole. I think that there's a lot of pressure on students, especially as they're in a transitory period in their lives. So I think the university's definitely done a lot to build up that support network, and yeah, I think it's made a lot of strides in that area. And on top of that, like for my program, being new at the time, like it shows that the university isn't afraid to break molds and come up with innovative ways to create like learning opportunities to, and they bring in like experts in a wide variety of fields, and you get that top class instruction as well as a lot of hands-on experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that you kind of debunked that myth almost that there isn't a supportive environment at Waterloo or that we don't have those supports. There definitely have been. I mean, I'm a current student here at Waterloo, so in my experience, there have been a lot of mental health supports and a lot of emphasis on, making sure that during exam periods and during, tough academic periods, that you are taking care of yourself. So I really like that you mentioned that. Anna?
Yeah, I kind of want to echo that mental like support aspect. I didn't realize how lucky I was until I graduated from Waterloo, and then I was speaking to like friends who graduated from other universities. Like the entire idea of like a VI, like or not a VIF, but like the thing where you can have like one absent day. I don't know if it's still a thing over in Waterloo, but where you can have like one absent or 3 absent days in a term, just to support yourself mentally. Like that was like when I told that to others, like people, they were like blown away at that, like the idea of that. And then in my program in particular, like we had flip days. So like let's say if you couldn't get your assignment in like this Friday, you had like key slip days, so like 24 hours to like get keyed through. That you could then submit it without penalty. Like that idea was also like, whoa, like you guys had that. So there are so many things set up along the way, whether it's like student support services or just built into the academic like program that are there to help support student well-being. But I will say, I would be lying if I said that Waterloo wasn't like academically challenging. I didn't feel like put kind of like under the pressure at times. But I think in those moments where I developed the soft skills that I really, really needed, especially now that I'm in the work field. And I can appreciate the soft skills that I've learned, like being able to multitask, being able to prioritize effectively, yet still like balance a work-life balance sort of thing. Yeah, so like that was probably like the most important thing that I took away, being able to effectively balance and prioritize. And I don't think I would have learned those skills as effectively had I not been placed under the pressure that I was during my undergrad. Yeah. So looking back, it was a positive.
Yeah, I think sometimes we learn things when we don't expect it, or we're learning one thing for this one achievement or goal, but then in the background we're kind of learning a multitude of other things as well. So that's another benefit as well. I like that you mentioned that, Anna. And so for the next question, I know some may be able to speak more to this than others, but how has co-op at Waterloo shaped any unique opportunities that you were given as part of your undergrad, and how that's led to maybe the places that you are in today?
So I really wanted to use co-op to kind of see what else was out there, expand my horizon, and see if maybe I was a better fit in like one field as compared to the other. But I think like the one co-op experience that I keep referring back to in like, especially while I was like interviewing for jobs, was my research experience. Following like I was in the Faculty of Health over at Toby Jenkins, but I did tobacco policy lead research for 8 months, and that was really cool because I got to work with a variety of different like policy researchers from around the world. Yeah, so that job saves me the opportunity to see like what healthcare looks like, not from a practical lens. So I think a lot of the time when we think about healthcare, we think about like doctors or like nurses, people who are actually working on the field treating patients. But we don't often think about those who are a lot more like upstream or don't necessarily work in the field, for example, the policy researchers, and how their policy impacts, like, for example, like Health Canada's regulations. I currently work, like, even though that I say, like, I currently work in healthcare because technically, like, I work for Canadian Blood Services and the blood products that we get donated to, like, get brought to hospitals and get used by patients. I work at a much more upstream level. So that gave me sort of like the lens of like, and the appreciation, for what like healthcare looks like from a more macro lens, I believe. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah,
I got it.
absolutely.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
Drew?
Yeah, so I think like one of the best things the co-op program brings is the opportunity to get that exposure to different aspects of the industry, because you can get the chance to like see what you like working on, where the problems are that you might want to focus on solving, and like I'm into the entrepreneurship sphere here, so a lot of the problems that people take forward into companies are things they encountered in their co-op experience. So, but for me personally, like most of my co-op placements were research related. So I did one at the university in a lab here, and I actually got the opportunity to do international exchange for one of my co-ops. So
That's
I went
cool.
to university in France and worked in a lab there for 8 months, and that was a really great experience to get exposed to a different culture and
New environment. Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool.
do tours on the weekends
Yeah.
of all those
Yeah.
different places because I'd never been to Europe before. So.
Yeah, you must have got to like take a train to a different
Mhm.
country every day. That's nice.
I learned next to no French while I was there because everybody in the lab spoke English. And as soon as they heard my accent, they would just switch to English and I had no chance to actually practice. But other than that, it was a really fun experience.
That's
Nice.
awesome. That's really cool. Tyler?
Yeah, so aviation is a non-co-op program. All of our experience comes from our flight training.
Mhm.
We actually fly planes here at Waterloo. So if you didn't know that about the program, we do fly planes over the 4 years and develop our licenses that way. But I think I can speak to a very unique perspective of the co-op focused atmosphere from a non-co-op student lens, I guess. Despite, if you do choose a non-co-op option, if that's the right fit for you, Waterloo's industry-focused supports were so available to me that when came time for me to apply for my first airline pilot job, what does a pilot resume look like? What do you have to? It's very different. So having the resume prep workshops, having appointments with an advisor to look at my resume, to look at my cover letter. Is this specific enough for the airlines industries? Having all that familiarity, all that experience from the university with job preparation, even from a non-co-op student perspective, has really helped me prepare for those hard skills that I needed for interviews, for resume preparation. And I will say that observing my friends, my brother preparing for co-op things, when you switch between school and co-op, it is hard work at the time, and I think it's echoing what Anna was saying. It's not saying everything will be easy and breezy, but I think all of that skills that you build here are all so valuable when it comes to life. Being able to write a resume, update your resume every few months, and then prepare for another interview every few months. By the time you graduate, their interview skills, their resume looks so great. They're so confident in their experience and how they can express themselves to be themselves, but also stay professional in front of a recruiter. I think those are skills that are so valuable. Whether or not you're co-op or not, you can access those opportunities, which I fully did, and being able to network with industry partners as well. And I think we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But even as a non-co-op student, the experience, the skills, the supports were really there to help me stand out. Yeah.
And Amon, as a current student, your co-op experiences, how have they so far led you to, I guess, different goals or achievements that you've had in mind, or just those different opportunities that you're now given?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the biggest thing about co-op for me was really learning that I love working. Like, I don't know if that makes sense entirely, but I feel like I came into university and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I really like studying, so I was a little nervous about the fact that, okay, after these 4 years I have to like enter the job force, and I'm not really too thrilled about that. But in this position, this is the only co-op I've had so far, and I work in marketing basically. And I'm actually in political science, but I learned that I love marketing, and I learned that I love, writing and talking to people. Like, I get to do so many different things in this job, and it's really helped me realize how many skills I have. Like, I think that's something that people don't really realize, is that it helps you realize what you're good at and what you are capable of also, because you don't really know that if you haven't had like a professional job, I guess. Like, before this, I was babysitting and lifeguarding. Like, this is a very different experience. But yeah, I feel like it's really helped bring me into my own a little bit, and also like give me the confidence that I needed to be like, okay, I can be a professional in a working environment, and I actually am good at those things. So it's definitely built my confidence, given me so many new experiences, and taught me what I want for sure. The only part about my job that sucks is that I have to work with dentists, but other than that, it's a great job.
Wrong to that.
I see how it is. I see. Last episode you had a dish
No,
out
I'm
the
kidding. I'm
dishes.
kidding.
Yeah.
I'm glad that everyone has such diverse and interesting experiences within the co-op program, or just through the skills that you can gain because Waterloo is so career focused. But we've talked a little bit about career. We've talked a little bit about academics. Waterloo is much more than that. We have a lot. We like to have a lot of fun as well. So I wanted to ask you guys, what's one unforgettable experience that you've had outside of the classroom, and how did you kind of make friends or build a community here? And I guess those are two questions. So maybe you could answer one. Either give your most unforgettable experience here, or how you made friends and built a community here. But Drew, do we want to start with you?
The most unforgettable part was being able to work at a company in Velocity.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Velocity Incubator is the associated with the university, and it hosts a lot of startup companies, and I got to work for one for a few years. And that experience there was like what opened my eyes to the possibility that I could do that kind of thing as well, just by seeing like all of the other founders working on their own stuff and hearing about how like their backgrounds were not that different from mine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was the thing that I really found unforgettable and shaped my career going forward.
Awesome.
Cool. My biggest unforgettable experience, I guess, was right in first year. I had joined the a cappella club at
fun.
Waterloo, so it was a totally new thing for me. I was in music in high school, but a cappella is a whole different thing. You know,
Yeah.
you're singing with mics, you're dancing, you're acting in some cases. So that was way out of my comfort zone. But I decided, I'm here to try new things. I'm here to meet new people. And I was just trying something new, and we were rehearsing. I started loving it, and then we had won first place in our quarterfinals
Wow.
in the regional championships, and we're gonna go make it to the semifinals in New York.
That's
And
cool.
so, if you've ever watched Pitch Perfect, it's very similar. It's oddly similar.
Is it
Yeah.
really?
It's oddly similar. We didn't have any singing battles, but the competitions, the things we did, was very cool. And I was pushed into some areas where I really felt like, wow, I would have never done this otherwise. So joining that was so cool. Unfortunately, that's when the pandemic started, so we didn't get to go to New York in the end. But that was such a special moment, I think, in my first year of university. And speaking on that, I know you talked about community, and I think that's such a unique thing about Waterloo was the amount of community and friendship that is organically available here at Waterloo. And so not only that a cappella, over the next few years, there are many ways that really I fostered my own community here, being away from home. I joined the Chinese Christian Fellowship here, so being able to have a cultural and faith-based community to connect with. Our aviation program was really close with one another too, and I joined the Aviation Society, so having a leadership opportunity community as well. So I had a lot of ways to pour out, to like do things, to use my skills, but there were so many ways and communities at Waterloo for me to be poured into as well, to get the rest, to get the encouragement and friendship I needed to recharge with friends. So for me, I really felt like I had a really rich experience, not only with the things I got to learn and do, but with the new connections and lifelong friendships I've made, and I still am friends to this day to so many people here. So clubs, communities are something that you cannot miss out.
It really is like through like those the clubs like Tyler was talking about, but also through experiences like attending the Ontario University Fair, putting on different hats, like being a student ambassador, being a John. You get to meet like-minded people who are interested in the same thing that you're interested in, or show the same level of enthusiasm and excitement. And there's something about that like it being so organic that like naturally sort of makes you like gravitate towards the other person, when you're like, wow, like we see things so alike. Um, yeah, so it really is like through a lot of those extracurricular like opportunities where I met people, and like those some of those people are still like my friends today. And I keep in touch with, even though we are on different parts of like the globe, or even like different parts of like where we are career wise. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. For before we get into something that's very fun, special segment that we're gonna have, quickly, for everybody, what advice would you give to students, like current high school students, who are maybe they've got a couple options of which schools they might want to attend, or they're really still not sure? And what's like some final piece of advice that you could give students that are in that crunch time of like which decision am I going to make for the next 4 to 5 years of my life?
Sweet. It's a great question. I think there's a lot of pressure to make a decision right away. It's grade 12. You have to choose somewhere. I would encourage you to think about the why of what drives you. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy and a big question, but over the years, I've really realized that my best work and the friendships and the connections that last the longest are the environments or the things that I have a reason to do. Like, I'm passionate about this thing. I have a reason why I want to be friends with this person. I actually met Anna as an ambassador and a Don. So why did I become a Don? I loved connecting with younger students, having that mentorship role, but still being able to be surrounded by the residents community. I thought that was such an awesome thing to do. And so think about those things when you think about university. Like, do you want to make an impact in the world, or do you want a great career? Do you want a student experience where you can really be challenged, or do you want an experience where you have community on your side? I think those are big things to reflect on. And each university will have pros and cons for each student, but I think when you're debating that, the Waterloo's co-op program and the career-based incentives are a great way for you to test out. Like Drew shared, Anna shared, test out the things you might be interested. Oh, maybe you thought you liked this, you didn't like this, and you'll discover something new. So I think if you're debating, Waterloo is a great place to continue thinking about these questions and having the resources of the community to make your decision and for your career later on. But for me, it's reflecting on what drives you. What makes you excited.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice.
For sure. That's awesome. Drew?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure to get it right when you're trying to pick in that grade 12 time. But my advice would be, don't be afraid to stay mobile and make changes, because it's quite possible that you don't make the right choice right now because you don't have that experience yet. And like maybe you can get it over a couple of years at university, but the worst case scenario is you find out that what you're doing doesn't excite you and doesn't motivate you. But now you're like a couple of years in and you just don't want to give up what you've already done. Well, you need to do the things that you enjoy doing, or else you're just going to be miserable your whole career. So I think that's the advice I would give, is like, don't be afraid to make those changes. It took me a few years to even be sure that I had made the right choices.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And the more opportunities that you're given to explore those different avenues, to see what excites you and what doesn't, is a great way for students to obviously see what or which avenues are the right ones for them. So that's perfect. Anna?
I think for me, it's like asking myself like which location or which school is gonna provide me with the best opportunities and resources to become the best person that I can be. Um, yeah, like that's I want to say like it's like as simple as that for me. Obviously like grade 12, it's hard. Like you have a lot of things going on. And this is a huge like transition period. Especially like being a Don, like a previous Don, I can appreciate working with so many first year students. That grade 12, yeah, it was nerve-wracking. Even getting into first year and actually like settling in, it takes you a little bit. So like I can appreciate that it's quite a decision that you need to make. But thinking which school is going to provide me with that platform so that I can really grow and become the best version of myself is really important. And understand that like let's say you are a bit nervous or like you're on the fence about Waterloo, I think having constantly alumni come back and have to give nothing but positive things to say is a testament to the Waterloo experience, and that what that looks like. Yeah, and know along the way there are resources and supports available to you at Waterloo to help you succeed. Um, yeah, those are all good reasons to why you should choose Waterloo. And then the funny side of me when I heard that, when I saw that question was, why wouldn't you choose Waterloo? But yeah, that's my keeper thought question or my keeper thought answer.
I love that. Why wouldn't you choose Waterloo? That's good advice. Okay, so we always like to finish off with something fun for the episode. So for today, we wanted to hear your Waterloo bucket list. So what are like 3 to 5 things that you think every student needs to do before graduating from Waterloo?
Well, the first thing that I was thinking of there is that, Waterloo's known for its university, but the region of Waterloo is such a vibrant, beautiful place. And I think that that's not well known to a lot of people across Canada of how many jewels there are spread around. So I think one thing, you can't leave Waterloo without taking advantage of the surrounding area and what's available. Kitchener-Waterloo already has so many fun things to do. I don't know if Anna or Drew has any recommendations, but if you have a car, you can take the GO train. Elora, Elmira, Stratford are all such beautiful towns, and they have such great food to go check out. And it would be a waste of 5 years here if you didn't go take advantage
Explore the city.
of the community around you. So that's a fun thing. And more like career thing, I think there's so many networking events and cool opportunities that are job focused here at Waterloo that would be that are optional, but it's such a great way to, like, for me, I met so many pilots from Air Canada, Air Transat, captains in these airlines who really gave me good advice for how to prep, how to stand out as a pilot, how to be professional. So it's a great university to join, to pop into cool events as well. So don't waste those opportunities of going out, having fun, but also the things that are really beneficial for your career as well.
Tyler, you mentioned like the community stuff. Where's your go-to like chill or let's say like food spot outside of campus?
Gosh, that's a great question. I really, if I have a day off and the weather's nice, I'd always go to a walk through Waterloo Park into Uptown Waterloo and get ice cream at For All ice cream. And so I have to plug For All. I have friends who've never been, and I'm like,
it's
how
so
dare
good.
you
It's so good.
live here so long?
It was also
without...
started by an Waterloo alum.
Waterloo alum started it.
Yeah.
Organic ice cream, affordable. So
flavors are immaculate.
Exactly. My go-to, they had an Earl Grey ice cream as well. I like the blueberry cheesecake one.
Okay, there you go.
That. But anyways, For All ice cream is my go-to. I have a day off.
Yeah.
Let's do something I like.
Yeah.
So,
How do you spell that? I've never been there.
For All, Fourall.
Okay, gotcha.
So their first store was in Uptown Waterloo. So
Okay.
yeah, you have to go.
I will check it out for sure. Drew, do you have any bucket list items that are must-dos before we graduate? Or I graduate?
I would say if you haven't checked out Grad House, you should go there. I know it's supposed to be for grad students, but that doesn't keep undergrads from sneaking in.
Yep.
And they have like bands playing there. They have like a board games night that goes every couple of weeks, and there's just tons of events there. So it's definitely a nice little spot on campus to have some experiences. Otherwise, I would say like get involved in the clubs and stuff here, because not only are they fun distractions from the academic grind, but they're also like the connections that you'll make and you'll keep.
Yeah.
And that'll help you down the line when you're trying to break into a career, because you can find connections in strange places.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Anna?
I would like to second For All. For All is so great. When Tyler mentioned it, I was like, oh man, he said what I was going to say. And then he mentioned Earl Grey ice cream, and I was like, I have been waiting for that flavor to make a comeback. It's like a seasonal flavor, so I've been waiting for it to come back. Yes, but definitely go and check out For All. They're great. I would highly recommend, like joining a sport on campus, even if you don't play at like the varsity level. I'm not a varsity athlete, I remember like joining the tennis club on campus. I suck at tennis. But I got a chance to meet other people who also were beginners at tennis. And like it's just a nice way to relax, like on a Tuesday and a Friday night for like an hour. Like hit some balls with people, like socialize, kind of learn about what they're up to at Waterloo, what programs they're in, like what kind of they envision for themselves. Great way to meet new people. So I would highly recommend joining a sport. Yeah, and then checking out the Floral Ice Cream Place. Exploring Waterloo. Like I love Stratford. I'm a huge musical person. So I was really excited that the Stratford Festival happens like 45 minutes away from where I was living at the time. So check out like the different musicals that happen, explore the different towns. There's also people don't know, but there's skiing around Waterloo. So like I think is it Chicopee? I think it's
Yeah, Chicopee Ski Hill.
yeah. So if you're kind of like learn, maybe you like skiing, snowboarding, or you're like really good, feel free to like, hop on the hill in the wintertime and like get rid of some steam that way.
I like
Or you
that.
can just go tubing.
True.
Just slide down the hill.
Yeah.
There's also the Maple Syrup Festival happening in Elmira soon.
Yeah,
Here we go. Elmira.
Elmira, they got stuff going on.
Exactly.
I'm surprised nobody said the bucket list item is you got to be part of orientation. Orientation week
well,
is
you gotta
here.
plug orientation.
Do you, Anna or Tyler, do you want to talk about orientation a little bit since you're campus ambassadors?
Sure. I was not on an orientation team.
Yeah.
So Dennis, if you have experience on the science one, you should plug that. But orientation is your first welcome to Waterloo. It's a party. It's an awesome time, and it really is your first fun welcome to Waterloo.
Yeah.
And I would say it's more fun as an upper year as well to be involved with the team. So I'll let Anna and Dennis. You can expand to your experience.
Anna, do you want to go for it?
Oh, I also was like never like officially part of like or actually I was, but when I was it was like during COVID. So
Me too.
I was a virtual leader, so maybe that's
yeah, I
different.
had virtual orientation, so that looked a little different. But I remember being a Dawn and going with my students to like different orientation events. Wow, I sound like a mom right now. I'm so sorry. But going with my students to like different orientation events, especially the musical that happens. Oh my gosh, it's put on by Waterloo like singers and performers, and like, the tech team is like all Waterloo students. It's like phenomenal. But it's so fun. The vibe is so hype. Everyone's so excited. Everyone's also like kind of like shy, but also nervous, but also wants to meet new people. It's like it's just so cute and like so vibey. Sorry, that's not professional. It's like, so vibey. Yeah, so it's a great way to meet new people and then also appreciate the things that are happening out. Yeah.
I think we'll wrap it on that note. Waterloo is a vibe. Period. Thank you all for being part of the episode. We're very fortunate to have you join us in Waterloo in person as well as virtually to share and bestow your wisdom on prospective students and students that are thinking of their next chapter of their lives, because this is definitely a stressful time for them, and hopefully this gives them a little bit more ease as they settle into the next chapter of their life. So thank you all, and best of luck for all your future careers and endeavors, and we're just really happy to have you on the episode today. So thank you, everybody. And we'll just give them a quick sign off in the middle camera there. Bye. Anna's waving at us.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
We were very fortunate to have some amazing guests and alum with us from Tyler, Drew, as well as Anna, who joined virtually.
Another congratulations to all of you who have received an offer. If you do choose to accept your offer, and we hope you do, you will be joining a list of very notable alums like the ones we had here today, as well as Chris Hatfield, Rupi Kaur, Mike Lazar-Deese, Donna Strickland, Kevin O'Leary, Dennis, and lots more.
And for anybody still waiting, there is still time.
Reminder that you do have to accept your offer by June 2nd.
And if you're still on the fence or want to chat more, there's a couple different options available to you. You can ask a current student, which is our Ask a Warrior. If you want to chat with a staff, such as myself, you could send an email to liaison@uwaterloo.ca, which will be linked in the description. And if you want to connect with our faculty, there are a variety of contacts, which will also be in the description. So that pretty much wraps up season 2. We hope you enjoyed all the content. We were very fortunate to be in this space and to share this, the amazing stuff that we have going on at Waterloo. And I guess the only way to really sign this off is with a little water, water, water.
Loo, loo, loo.
See you later. Hello, Warriors.